Peggy 16.
I'm Oleg Medics, the head of the IL-2 Sturmovik design team. And I'm Ilya Shevchenko, the lead development producer on the Cliffs of Dover project. The original IL-2 Sturmovik was in development for 4 years before its release in 2001. We continued to improve the sim, add new planes, and expand the series for almost 7 years after that. We ended up with a gigantic encyclopedia of World War II aviation that covered virtually every theater of the war. While working with the original IL-2, we increasingly felt that the engine was becoming obsolete. We wanted to do more. Hardware was becoming more powerful. New opportunities were opening up. It was becoming increasingly difficult to fit everything into our 2001 game engine. Finally, we decided to break out of our old cocoon, spread our wings, and become a beautiful butterfly. We created a brand new game engine from scratch, taking absolutely nothing from the old IL-2 except for our experience. We have brand new physics, brand new artificial intelligence, and a completely new graphics engine that supports all the cutting-edge features that the old IL-2's engine simply could not handle. The Battle of Britain always appealed to us because it was a very compact, brutal conflict where all the different types of aircraft came together and battled each other over a very small area. Large air battles of all sorts open tons of possibilities for the player. You want to fly a fighter? You can dogfight other fighters or intercept bombers. You can fly bombers and dive bomb or level bomb or strafe ground targets or attack shipping. In short, virtually every aspect of the 6 years of World War II are available here in one single compact battle. The player has virtually limitless possibilities. I can say this about the realism. We tried to make this game as realistic as possible on current cutting-edge hardware. One of the features we're most proud of is our damage model. Fans of the IL-2 series will see a huge leap forward compared to our older titles. Remember that the damage model in IL-2 was always considered the most advanced, the most detailed, and the most realistic. Despite the fact that the old IL-2 was released 10 years ago, even to this day no World War II combat sim has come out with a damage model that approaches our 2001 release. Cliffs of Dover will bring us up to date to 2011 standards. Each plane is modeled in such intricate detail that you will see the hit of each round in the exact spot it hits, and virtually everything, every rivet, every spar, the entire internal structure, they're all right there. The in-game round that hits a specific spot will cost the exact result as a real round fired at a real aircraft. Some of our more complex planes contain more than 300 individually damageable components. Each of them has an effect of some sort on the plane's performance. That perhaps may not be apparent when you're the one firing at another plane. You won't notice that you took out the oxygen supply to the pilot or, punctured the hydraulics line or damaged the radio. You won't see an immediate effect from outside, but all of them will become extremely important when you're the one being shot at. When you're flying and a burst hits your plane, you'll see tons of little messages on your screen. This has been destroyed, that has been damaged, and that will greatly affect how you fly. Compared to the old IL-2, which had about 30 damageable components, Cliffs of Dover, as I said earlier, has planes with over 300. The game, following in IL-2's footsteps, continues to expand on customizability. There is a lot of realism options that allow you to toggle various simulation elements that make it more or less realistic. If you are new to flight sims, you can disable complex engine management, spins and stalls, and so on, and fly a nearly arcade game, where it's nearly impossible to stall or crash. You can of course turn off vulnerability completely so enemy rounds won't damage you, and you can fly into the ground and bounce right off and keep on flying. And therefore you can fly and fight without worrying about the complexities of the simulation. Or if you're already an ace, with more flying experience you can turn everything on and worry about all the intricacies of physics as a real-world pilot would. Additionally, you can create your plane's paint scheme, change your pilot's appearance, change the shoes he's wearing, the helmet, and otherwise take your idea of what you would look like in World War II and turn it into your in-game persona and your plane. That, of course, is most important in the multiplayer mode, where they can recognize you by your uniform, where you can place the medals you've earned in your jacket, and so on. Our game world took a huge amount of research to create. We tried to find, and we did find, real combat maps from 1940 and used them to meticulously recreate the area. The size, the amount and types of buildings, various landmarks, all that works to create an impression of really being back in time. Lots of research was also conducted into the flight models of all aircraft, and that started before the original IL-2 was released. We continue to expand on it, and the best research and the ideas that we developed previously were used to create a next-level simulation in Cliffs of Dover. All the objects, aircraft, ground vehicles, ships, even buildings, are based on the real aircraft, vehicles, and buildings that existed in England and France of 1940. The detail built into all the vehicles, aerial and ground, is something we're extremely proud of. We set a new standard compared to anything possible with our older titles. And as you know, the old IL-2 was always considered the pinnacle of attention to detail. Our aircraft are extremely detailed. Every rivet, every panel line is exactly where it was. Our cockpits are also more detailed than anything ever done in a World War II flight sim. Ground vehicles are modeled at a level unprecedented for the genre. Our tanks and trucks and other stuff is at a level acceptable for a first-person shooter. You can walk up to it and see it from a perspective you would never have while flying above it at 300 miles per hour, and you'll see all those rivets and panel lines, open little doors, detailed interiors, and so on. All that is done to allow the series to grow. We want the vehicles we've built in 2011 to still work in 2015 and to continue to be used in our future releases.